Good afternoon. Welcome to day 3 of Activate Your Power Digital Summit, presented and hosted by Women in Media Global. I am your host, Commissioner Danielle Page Jeter, and it is a privilege and an honor to be here. Happy Saturday to you, your family, and your loved ones. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. It's already day 3, so go ahead and share the feed. Thank you for showing up and for being here today, showing up for yourself, showing up for your development, and showing up for each other. Go ahead, share that feed. Drop some comments into the chat. I want to know how you're feeling on this beautiful Saturday. I'm pretty sure that it's beautiful in almost every part of the country as we're moving into our spring season. It is May. So go ahead. Tell me how you feeling. What you drinking? I just have some water. I'm not too fancy today. I just have a bottle of water. But if I could transform this water into something else, it would definitely be a mimosa. You feel me? And I could probably take it without the orange juice. Yeah, you could just give me the champagne. But what are you drinking? How is your Saturday going? And let us know where you are from. Go ahead and drop that in the chat. Say hello to each other and share, share, share. We have been doing great. It is already day 3 of the Women in Media Digital Summit. And we have a action-packed Saturday for you. And I'm just excited how everything just kind of aligned itself perfectly. Day 1, we talked about activate your mindset, right? Day 2, we talked about activate your health and activate your personal growth. So we got our minds right, we got our health right. You know, we greased our scalps, as Audrey said. We fixed our fingernails. We released. We did some deep breathing. We released it all. We did emotional intelligence. We talked about physical fitness. And we talked about personal growth with Kimberly S. Reed. How if you look at your rear view, not for a long time, but just so you can remember that you've already come through something. Now we're here at day 3, and it's only day 3 of 8 days. So we have 5 more days to go. But today is activate your media power. So we had to bring in some amazing young women who I am just pumped to see. These millennial media moguls, makers, founders, they are really killing the game at what it is that they're doing in journalism and broadcasting. You've seen me post, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. We have Selena Hill joining us from New York City, who is the digital editor at Black Enterprise. She also produces her own radio show, and she is just a breath of fresh air. She is a great and kind spirit. She's energetic, and she's so supportive of the culture. Very interested in talking about politics, talking about social advocacy, talking about entertainment and the development of our culture. Selena is a friend to the network, so she'll be joining us today. And we also have Stichiz. Stichiz is from Miami, Florida. She'll be popping in with us first around 1:30. And Stichiz is on air. She's an on-air personality, but not only is she on the radio, y'all, she is also a hip hop artist. She's a lyricist, a songwriter. I've listened to her music, and she is just an amazing talent, bringing all of that for us from Miami, Florida. She's on air at 103.5 The Beat, Miami's urban station, which is an iHeart radio media station. So we have 2 millennials who are going to be talking to us today about activate your media power. We're all here because we are women, right? But not only are we women, we are leaders in media, communications, arts, and entertainment. That is the community that you are a part of. Activate your power. And I was just really excited about the opportunity to do this summit and the opportunity to bring this to you. I know and believe that it is a part of my responsibility to do this for our community. So by you showing up, by you participating, by you sharing the feed, it is helping us to get our message across and us to bring light, encouragement, hope, resources, and a way to pivot and reinvent yourself during this global health crisis known as COVID-19. So during this summit, we have activate your power, activate your finances, activate your business, activate your health, activate your relationships, and activate your power. We're going to be covering all of these topics over the next 5 days. This is only day 3, so make sure you have your notebook, you have your pen, and you are ready to take down the information that we are going to be giving to you. But this is not just a summit where you're going to come and you're going to be filled with great information and you're going to leave inspired and that's it. No. Everybody always talks about, well, what is the takeaway? What is the takeaway from this meeting? I'm going to let you know right now what the takeaway is, okay? Takeaway number 1. You are going to be active, engaged in the Activate Your Power community group. That means, you know what your mama used to say when you was growing up. Don't you come in my house. Don't you go in nobody's house without speaking first. If you are coming into our home, our Facebook community, our virtual space, say hello to the network. Don't just be looking around trying to see who's in the group. We need you to introduce yourselves. Mama always said that. You got to have manners. Introduce yourselves. So you're going to be engaged and active in the group. That's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to glean hope and encouragement and motivation from each other as we're social distancing. That you are introducing yourself in the group and you're saying hello. Your second takeaway is this. We have homework. Every day, we have takeaways from our speakers who gives you something to work on after the summit is over. After we conclude today and you go about the rest of your day, you have something to really work through. You have a prompt to work through. You have something to think about. You have action steps. You have a plan to put on paper and then put into action. We will be awarding winners every single day for homework. So the best person who turns in their homework inside of the Activate Your Power community group, we pick a winner and we send you a prize. So we already announced our winner for day 1. We are still going to announce our winner for day 2. And then you have an opportunity to win a prize for day 3. So that is your second takeaway. You're going to actually have action steps to work on that is going to help you activate your power right now in a season that is new, in a season that is fresh. This is a new beginning for a lot of us. Most of us, all of us. For me, I know it probably is for you too. This is new. We've never seen this before. So don't look at it as a step back. Look at it as a new level, a fresh start, right? So that's your second takeaway. And your third takeaway is this. I'm going to share that with you a little bit closer to the end of our summit. We do have something very special that we're going to be announcing towards the end of the summit. So you want to make sure that you're here every day. Set your alarms for 1 o'clock to 2:30 p.m. That's it. We just need an hour and a half of your time. That's it, to just pour into you so that you have what you need to go into the next new season, new phase of your life. Here at Women in Media, we empower, equip, and encourage women to own their voices. We take a holistic approach to the woman, investing in her mind, body, spirit, and soul. That's what makes our Women in Media community unique. That's what makes us who we are, because not only do we fuel you professionally for your development so that you can be a boss in the world of media and communications, arts and entertainment. But no, we invest in you as a woman, as a person, because we understand that life is not just about work. It's not just about the titles that we have when we're doing our work. It's not about that. It's about the person. It's about the soul, right? So we are all about feeding your soul, feeding you as a woman so that you can develop into who you were purposed and destined to be, so that you can follow the call that is for your life, and that everything that you need, everything that you have, all of the special gifts and talents that are inside of you, that you feel confident enough to walk out in the world, to walk out in the marketplace, and to let those things shine, just to exude all of the good things that you have. So I want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourselves. And Thank you to the people who donated to Women in Media. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we operate off of the strength of the community, the strength of our members, and the strength of our team and our staff and our board who invest in us and you, participants, our members, people, women such as yourselves who show up to our programs and who provide and give and give and give and give to our nonprofit. So for everybody who has donated on our Eventbrite page, that is wimglobal.eventbrite.com. Thank you so much for your donation. That is also another opportunity to win a essential cares package from Women in Media. So everybody who has donated will be entered into a competition to win the grand prize, which is going to be a essentials care package from Women in Media mailed to you. I'm trying to show you my Women in Media shirt. Yes, these shirts are also available. So if you want a Women in Media shirt, just let us know. We will hook you up with that. If you donate, you still have an opportunity to donate to Women in Media on our page on wimglobal.eventbrite.com, and you too will have the opportunity to win. When you donate to Women in Media, you are investing in women. You are showing up and saying, hey, when you do that, that's an action step. That means that you are participating. That means that we understand and see where your value is. You value nonprofits, you value small business, you value women, and you value community. You value investing in women, in programming that is going to develop more women and students and girls. Over the last 8 years, Women in Media has done close to 50, 60 programs in Miami, Philadelphia area, New Jersey, Atlanta, and we're coming to a city near you soon. How do we do that? We do that from the support and the love of the community. So by that, you help us to operate our programs. Here at Women in Media, we have 4 main programs. We have WIM Speaks Global Media, which is our media production and our media consulting arm of the nonprofit. We have Women in Media, our WIM Leadership Council, which is a training program for women who are leaders and advocates who want to be leaders and advocates in the space of media. We also have our big annual our claim to fame. It is the Women in Media Global Conference. We host that conference every single year. It's 3 days, 4 days long, and that is one of our programs. And we also have our WIM Wellness. And Activate Your Power is actually a product of WIM Wellness. WIM Wellness is the holistic approach to the woman, as I mentioned earlier. And that is us investing in you to make sure that you are that well-rounded woman who is showing up to the marketplace, to leadership, to the table, well, whole, and ready to rock and roll with the best of them. That is WIM Wellness. We decided to initiate this initiative about 3 or 4 years ago, because if you follow the industry and you understand what's happening, you see that there's a lot of burnout in this industry because of the long hours we work, because of the wear and tear on our physical and our mental capacity, and because of all of the output that goes into executing in the field of media. And so that's why we initiated this, because we didn't want to see or experience more burnout than necessary from members, women out in media and communications, and women who are close to us. We wanted to make sure that we provided something that was going to help you make it through. I just saw that Stichiz is in the waiting room, so we are going to bring her to the stage. Stichiz is first up. She is our first speaker for today. We're going to activate your media power. But of course, I have to start off with something inspiring for you. So I am going to share with you from Ecclesiastes 3, a time for everything. This is like one of the legendary Bible verses that I know we all understand, but I thought it was so timely because if we put into perspective what's happening in our world today, we understand that God's word told us that there was always going to be a time for everything that is happening under the sun. Understand that nothing is new. So here we are. I'm dedicating this to you, and I'm sending you light, I'm sending you love, and I'm sending you reminders that We're not in a space and time where things are lost and confused. God knows exactly what's going on. He has everything under control because there is a time for everything. Ecclesiastes 3. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do well while they live. That each of you may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is a gift of God. I know that everything God has done will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing can be taken from it. God does it so that people will fear him. Whatever has already been and whatever has already been before, and God will call the past to account. And I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. I said to myself, God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked. For there will be a time for every activity, a time to judge every deed. I said to myself, as humans, God tests them so they can see that they are like the animals. Surely the fate of human beings is like that of animals. The same fate awaits both. As one dies, so does the other. All have the same breath. Humans have no advantage over animals. Everything is meaningless. Everything is meaningless. All go to the same place, all come from dust, all will return to dust. Who knows if the human spirit rises upward and if the spirit of animals go down into the earth? So I saw that there was nothing better for a person than to enjoy their work, because that is their lot. For who can bring them to see what will happen after them? That is Ecclesiastes 3. And I hope that was special for you. I hope that it touched you. And to understand and to remind you that, you know, at the end of that verse, it said that at the end of the day, we all going to come into this earth and we all going to go. We came as dust and dust we shall return. But in the in-between, the beginning and the end, enjoy your life. Enjoy your work. So if you want to be in the field of media, communications, arts, and entertainment, if you want to be a business owner, if you want to start a nonprofit, if you want to be an artist, if you want to be a politician, if you want to be a speaker, sis, do your thing, because the time is now. There's a time for everything under the sun, and literally what are you waiting for? Women in Media is here to support you. We're going to activate your powers. We're going to continue to be here to support you. And I want you to know that the time for you to be great has never been better than before. We are so pumped and excited to host this conference for you, because we needed to let you guys know, hey, we see you out there, sis, but just to remind you, here's a little bit of extra support. Here's a little bit of extra resources. Here's a little bit of extra community to let you know that it's all good. It's all good. It's about your perspective and how you want to take things and how you want things to happen. So I'm excited to have Stichiz. I'm going to transition into Stichiz. I'm excited to have Stichiz. And we connect through broadcasting and radio, because that's actually how I got into the world of media. After exploring and being led there by a theater artist and being a dancer, I fell into event planning and promotion and gathering of people and planning activities. There, I learned more about marketing and promotion. And I said to myself, I'm going to go to the radio station, because I understand and know that at the radio station, they do events and they do promotions. So I can hone my skills. I can continue to brand myself as a experienced expert who creates amazing events and experiences for my people. And I can get the networks. I can learn the skills. I can raise my profile by being at the radio station. So I went to Radio 1 and I interned at Radio 1 and I ended up working there. I was a super intern when I graduated from Spelman College. And I said, you know what? I am going to go to radio and I'm going to do my thing. Actually, I'm going to come back and tell you the rest of that story. I'm going to bring Stichiz in because we want to make sure that we hear everything that she has for us. So I'm going to come back with my story. But Stichiz, as seen on BET's hip hop series One Shot, a multilingual tongue-twisting hip hop artist born in Canada to parents of Haitian descent and raised in South Florida, Stichiz is known for her talents as a lyricist, songwriter, well-known radio personality, and more. As a community leader, she serves as an on-air host known as the Midday Bay, and official female voice of Miami's urban radio station 103.5 The Beat, weekdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., along with several sister stations with the iHeartRedia family, such as 93.3 FM, The Beat in Jacksonville, Florida, amongst other stations across the U.S., and formerly on the longest running contemporary hit music station across the United States. Stichiz undeniably has passion for music is apparent when she interacts with all. Stichiz has a distinctive voice that cannot be mistaken with another. Stichiz shares her passion and love for Christ and people through community involvement. She empowers the young and old to be inspired and spread love in the best ways possible. Can we say welcome, Stichiz? Say welcome, Stichiz. Let's say hello and welcome, Stichiz, to Activate Your Power. We're bringing Stichiz up right now. Hi, Stichiz, you are live.
Hey, Suge.
Welcome. I already introduced you, and I wore my purple lipstick in honor of you, my purple earrings. So take it away.
Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to make sure, am I like properly lit? I can't see my face and all.
Yes, we see your face.
Okay, cool. Okay, there we go. So sorry, ladies. Oh, I don't have my MUA, honey. I don't know. I don't have my MUAs or nothing, but we're gonna make this work, and we're gonna make this happen. And let me look presentable and look halfway decent. So again, thank you for having me. I go by the name of Stichiz, radio personality. First and foremost, Danielle, how are you, Suge? Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to have you. Thank you for being here.
No worries, no worries.
Well.
And I appreciate you. And shout out to all the ladies who are part of this. I know one of which is Tasha, who's an amazing woman, and all the ladies. I didn't see the full list, but I know you're in for a treat. So briefly, I'm just really talking about my journey and my life, because I was really thinking about it. And for those who really know me, I'm one of those people. Just I work really hard, and sometimes you really have to just really pause and really evaluate certain things in your life. And I think I'm at that point where when we say the word activating power, what does that really mean? And I was praying on it and just really thinking about, like, really, what does that mean? And what really came to mind, what dropped in me, what he gave me was, before you can even talk about activating power, you have to release fear. You have to relinquish fear. You have to let go of fear, because I'm finding that fear is something that can keep you from love. Fear is something that can keep you from fulfilling your purpose. Fear can keep you from a lot of good things. And I think that's one of the most important parts, is identifying what it is that you're fearful of, and just moving forward, and really getting to the point where it's like you have greatness in you. And this is not going to be like a motivational speaker. I'm really just going to talk to you about my journey and what I've been through and how I've been able to navigate, and still navigating, to be quite honest with you. I'm not going to get up here and tell you, honey, oh, I got it all figured out. No, she don't. But she's getting there, and she's still growing. And hopefully some of the things that I've gone through, you won't have to go through after sharing it with you. So let's stick a pin in that situation and let's back up. So again, originally from Ottawa, Canada. My name is Stichiz, and I'm an artist, a author, children's book author, community lover. I love the Lord. I love people. And I am a radio personality and a voiceover artist. So how did I get into radio? A lot of people ask that question. It started really since I was in high school, in middle school, really, because music was always a part of my life. My sister was really a heavy advocate of me. I have Caribbean parents, so they're not about no music. Music, you have to be a doctor. You have to be, what else? You're not a doctor. You're not a nurse. You're nothing. So I had that process, but my sister was really an advocate for me. And it just developed from short stories to poems, and eventually it became songs. And from that, I was always ready to perform and always wanting to just make people happy through music and evoke emotion. So this is where radio comes into play. One day, true story, I was hearing somebody on the air, and I was like, hey, I want to do that. I could do that. And I believe I was a junior or a sophomore, maybe a junior in college. And I said, okay, I'm going to intern for the station. I'm going to intern for, at the time it was Clear Channel. And at that time I could not intern because I wasn't a senior. But talk about activating power. Talk about when you, and it coincides really with mindset. When you want to get something done, when you want to do it, honey, you're going to find some ways, some good ways rather. So it got to a point where I went to my communications department chair, and I went to her and I said, hey, Miss Gloria, that's what I remember. Her name was Miss Gloria, huh? I say, Miss Gloria, I need this intern. I just need my foot in the door. That's all I need, honey. Just write this form for me. So she filled out the form, and it was a situation where she was able to write a letter stating that I was going to get college credit, and child, anybody care about no credit, honey. I don't care about that. You let me in. So I got the interview, and talk about another part of power is control. And I say I'm still working on it because sometimes people irk my nerve. We're human, but talk about control. I did the interview, and I say this a lot when people ask me about this. When I did the interview, the person who interviewed me was really nasty. Like, they were really mean. I'm smiling, but at the time it was like, why are you so mean? And I remember it clear as day because he was asking me like, okay, so what do you want to do? Like, okay, fine, whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, sure, no problem. Because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I was there for. You ain't gonna mistrack me. You ain't gonna distract me. I know what I'm here for, okay? So I remember it clear as day. I'm looking across the hall, and he's like, hey, PK, Pop Keith, is right across the hall. You want to intern with him? He said it so nonchalantly. I'm like, sure. So the first day I go in, and I start talking to him, talking to PK, and then out of nowhere, at that time, like when the red light goes on, you go, like you're live. The number one thing in radio you don't want is dead air. So he turns on the mic, and I'm like, oh, and I start talking. And from that point on, as the intern, I had like a speaker on his show, and I was Peaches, and I was talking like this and giving the entertainment news and stuff. So that was one of my starts. I also did college radio, and the knowledge I gained as an intern, I brought it to the college radio station, and just growing and trying to pick up as much knowledge as I could, and gaining the experience. So I think that's another part of power. Just if we're talking about what you're trying to do, or what field you're going into, is learning. Always be willing to be a student. Always being willing to learn new things, because I feel like if you, wow, this is how I'm imagining it. It's like if you have a magnet, right? And the energy is attracted to certain things. And the more energy it gets, the bigger it becomes, and the stronger it becomes. And that could be in part with that energy could be a part of faith. That energy could be a part of love. That energy can be a part of knowledge. That energy could be a part of wisdom and experience. So just gaining all of those things and really just paying attention to help with that power that we're talking about activating. So keeping it going. So I interned for that time, and then sooner or later, I just really, between my time in school, I transferred over to FAU, shout out to the Owls, and I just kept in touch. I kept in touch with people just randomly, like, hey, Henry Herrera was the promotions director, and I would just randomly text him like, hey, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, hope your family's doing all right, and just checking up on people. And one day, he actually called me back and said, hey, I know this is not in your field. This is Henry now, the person I was keeping in touch with. I know this is not your field, but just apply. It was news, and it still kind of fit me because one of my majors was political science. I applied for the job. It was a board op. For those of you who are familiar with radio, when board opping, it's like, it's like that's an entry position, but nowadays it's like you could board up and just grow into anything. So don't take small beginnings for granted was one of the things I learned in that season. And I got the job, thankfully, because in my mind, talk about power and mindset, was, okay, my goal is to be on air. I'm going to have to learn how to board up. So let me learn now and get paid for it. Do-do-do, thank you. And then eventually I was learning other positions. So they created a position for me in the news station, which was blogging. My mind, okay, I'm gonna have my show. So I'm gonna need to learn the board, and I'm gonna need to post blogs for my own show. So let me learn now and get paid for it. Boo boo, number two. And then eventually they transitioned me into traffic, where I was Becky Barnes. And I had to talk like this, not even like this. I was Becky Barnes. Yeah, if you see a traffic problem, call me. And they said my name was too ethnic child, so I had to change my name and do all that. But nevertheless, I adjusted with the situations that I was in, not really compromising, just adjusting to the situations again, and just gaining the knowledge, gaining the experiences. And nobody knew at that time. I was working maybe about 3 other jobs. I was performing at night. I was hosting events and still doing other things in addition to still trying to reach my goal. So for me, it was like, my power was like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to go. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. And I'll share with you, and you might have heard it before, in your season of quote unquote grind, most people will usually just only see the good part. Most people will only see the part where you're shining. They're not going to see the part where you're grinding 4 o'clock in the morning, where you're putting in that work. They're not going to see that. And that's fine. That's not to say that you have to stop. There's times, I believe, where people aren't supposed to see, because in that process, there's some bumps and bruises. In that process of grind, there are some knees being scraped. There are some like tiredness and your eyes bagged up, and you just pull out. And everybody may not need to see that. So like I said, don't discredit if nobody's telling you, oh, go ahead, keep going, keep going. It's important to have that inside, but to also keep a company of people who can do that. But if you do not have that right now, you will find it. I won't even say seek it. You will find it, and they will eventually come to you. But in the meantime, it's okay to encourage yourself and say, like, you did good. You did good. You did good, dog nabbit, and keep going. So that's what I had to do. I kept going, and I was doing what we call an air check, and just really learning from every genre of music, every personality. Of course, there was everything. I didn't take everything from everybody, but I learned from them. And whatever I felt like I had to use discernment, whatever made sense with where I felt like I was going to be, I took that. So again, just a point of information. It's not everything that everybody's going to give you, even some things that I say that's going to sit with you. But whatever does, and that is right, hold on to it and let it help you grow, if that makes sense. Yeah. So whatever that people do tell you, because everybody's not supposed to speak into your life. You shouldn't allow everybody to, because it's not going to be good. So, but whatever good thing that people do speak to you and that you hear, I encourage you to keep it and let it be a seed to help you grow. And once things grow, you develop fruit. And once you develop that fruit, you will be a blessing to other people. Come on, somebody, that ain't even me. That just came. Come on. You heard what I said? Plant the seed. People will plant the seed, let it grow. Once it grows, you make some fruit, and that fruit will eventually help other people, and you will be a blessing and receive a blessing as well. So now let's get back to the story. There's a point to everything. Follow me now. So after I get through my grind, and I'll tell you, when something is for you, it is for you. And you won't have to fight other people. When something is for you, I'll repeat that again. When something is for you, it is for you. And you won't have to fight other people for it because it's yours. You'll just have to put in that legwork to do it. You'll have to put in that legwork. There's no going around that, because who said that when hardship, when you work hard for something, you tend to value it more, as if it's just, willy-nilly, just give it to you. You know what I mean? Of course, a gift is important. When it's just given, sometimes like, but when you work for something, hey, you ain't taking it from me, baby. So nevertheless, it got to a point where I was really working really too hard, I can say. And I ended up in the hospital, and just certain situations happened where I was afraid. Yeah, the aftermath caused me to be in a place where I didn't realize until somebody really pointed it out. My cousin pointed it out, that I was really fearful, because I was always go get it. And then once a situation happened, there's certain things that may happen in our lives that we can say what most would say a traumatic situation. Some worse than others, some not, but it's determining on what it is that you can handle as a person. What I might be able to deal with, somebody else can't. What you might be able to handle or have gone through, I probably can't stomach it, honey. So each heart knows its own happiness, and no one else can share. Each heart knows its own bitterness, and no one else can share its joy. So take that into consideration. Even as you progress, what so-and-so went through doesn't mean you'll have to go through that. Everybody has a process, and you definitely don't want to skip that process, because once you skip a process, you tend to miss what you're supposed to receive in a process. Get through the process. In every process, there's something that you're supposed to receive. The process may not feel nice. The process may not be, at the time, it may not. But rest, trust, and believe that that process is not for nothing. And I'm a firm believer in anything bad, I land on my faith. And if, I can only talk about what I know. I land on my faith, and anything bad, I believe that God can really turn it around for good and for your favor. So that's what I always try to keep in mind. And so back to the fear, and I'm going to get to power in a second. I was fearful because what I went through was really rough, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. But I didn't realize that I didn't want to really go out as much anymore. I didn't really want to step out as much anymore, because the fear of getting hurt, the fear of something happening to me. But once that person or those people around me really brought that to my attention, that's why it's really important to mind the company that you keep, because those people will help you through that process. There will be a time, of course, where you will be, I don't want to say alone, but it will be what a lot of people say, that you and God time, where you have to respect and acknowledge for a reason. But we're not meant to be on this earth alone. And don't believe that hype of, I did it on myself, I did it, but no, you didn't. Okay? No, you didn't. Somebody along the way helped you. And you have to really acknowledge those people and watch out for those people, because you don't want to kick them away. And somebody's on here that may be watching, and there's somebody in your life that has been a champion for you, a real, what we call them a real one. And if you have a real one, you tend to those people and you keep them by you, and you have to be a real one to other people as well. And so I say that to say this, because that was the person that helped me through that time. And that helped me to realize, okay, you're running by fear. We are not given fear, but power, not fear. We don't run by fear, because fear is associated with punishment. So that I'm going deep now. So when we say there's life and power there's life and death in the power of the tongue, that's important. Like why? And in my head, when I heard that there's life and death in the power of the tongue, to that effect. I may be jacking it up, but that to me hit me a little hard, because I looked up the definition of power, the ability to pretty much influence or change a course of an event. That's big time. So if your fear is keeping you, or at the time, I'll speak for me, at that time, fear was keeping me in. Any power that I had was not being activated, because I was stalemate. I was like, I'm praying, I'm doing what I can, but it's like, okay, what good are you doing if you're not out there? What good are you doing if you're not actually doing the footwork? What good are you doing if you're not doing something? And that's when, for me, okay, it clicked. You got it. Faith without action is dead. So if you have faith, you have to put the action behind it. And the power works, you have to speak it. So you can speak it negatively, or you can speak it positively. So at that time, when it was brought to my attention, back to that, it was like, okay, I had to change my mindset. I had to change it. I had to change it. Like, okay, I'm good. I'm covered. Like I made it. I'm okay. I'm gonna get through it. I'm getting through it. I really actually got through it. And somebody might be going through something as we speak, or maybe you're at that line, at that point where it's like, okay, I'm there, but I need to get there, or maybe not. But just hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, and know that if you're still here, then that means that power is still needs to be activated. And it's enough for you to keep going, because your purpose still has to be fulfilled. Why? Because you're still here. So that means there's something that you still need to do. There's something that still needs to be done. And there might be somebody waiting out there, honestly, for you. Because like we talked about, nobody is doing this by themselves. Nobody is doing something all by themselves. Don't believe that hype, bro. No, sis, don't believe that. You have help along the way, or there's somebody that's helping you, and hopefully on the way to help you. So the question is, will you be in position for them to help you? Will you recognize that that person is actually there to help you? And I'll be honest, trusting people has always been just because things that I've seen and gone through. So I personally had to really pause and just ask God, like, okay, God, you tell me, did you bring this person, or I don't know? And you just have to really see how people move and listen to what they say, and does it match? And vice versa. Are you a trustworthy person? Are you somebody else can count on? So we can talk about folk all day, but we got to really check ourselves sometimes as well. So why is this all important? Because that all boils down to really us, you, me, as the individual. The things that I'm going through, the things that I'm seeing, the things that I'm speaking, all have an attachment to the power. If I'm not speaking things that are positive, if I'm not watching things that are positive, or things that are in relation to what I believe is aligned with the purpose that I have, that power is not clicking. It's not going to click. And it may click, but it won't click for what it's supposed to. Listen to me good. It may click, but it won't click to something that it's supposed to. And the thing is, some of you might be on here and it's like, okay, well, I know what I got. I know I got it. So now keep walking with it. Now keep speaking it. Now help the next person and see how that blessing will return to you. So in all, when we talk about activating power, one, you have to release the fear and identify what that fear is, because there's always something that somebody's going through. Always. You never know what that somebody's going through, but there's always something. Two, maybe you're past that point where it's like, okay, nothing's wrong. I'm good. I just need to get there. My thing to you is keep going. Keep going. You might be at a point where it's like still, and it's like, what is happening? Why is it not working? It's gonna work. It's gonna work. If it's something for you, like we talked about, if it's for you, it's for you. It's gonna be for you. Because after doing those checks, after doing those air checks, after doing my part, I had to let God do his part. And it took someone from Jacksonville who came to our building who heard me, and it just everything aligned, because the person who heard me ended up being the senior vice president of urban radio, and said he wanted me on the air. And the people that I was working with all ended up, not all of them, but, and it's cool. Everybody ain't gonna be for you, but that's fine. As long as God is for you, you good. So the people that I was working with, for the most part, ended up vouching for me. Okay? Everybody's not gonna be happy when you get there. That's fine, but you're still gonna get there. Still get there. And when you get there, you do your best to help the next person, but get there. Get there first. So after we get to that point where it's like, so we got to number 2, after we got to that point where it's like, okay, I'm free of fear. I got it. I know. Okay, I'm there. Keep going. Like I said, keep going. And 3, once we understand that we've activated it, and we're limitless, we're boundless, we know who we are, we know what we're doing, we know the purpose, we know why we're doing this, we know that we're supposed to be doing it. Always remember why you're doing it. Because in the midst of the hardship, in the midst of the trouble, it's the why that will keep you standing. And I always say this, you know, I always share this, your why kind of has to be more than money. Personally, it should probably be intangible, because that can't be taken. What does that mean, intangible? Something that's not in the physical form. It's probably, if it got to be deeper than money, because money gonna come and go. Money gonna come. When you do what you're supposed to be doing, money gonna come. That thing gonna come. But it has to be a little deeper than money. Why are you doing what you're doing? And I can almost tell you that it will keep you. It will keep you. So with faith, with love, with understanding, and with just doing your part, the power has to be activated. And keeping with the right company, the power has to be activated. And I got to end with this. Even me, I'm still in the process of learning new things about me. Honey, we self-quarantine, we're learning things. We learning things, chat. So it's okay if it's a process where you're still learning. If you stop learning, that's when it becomes a problem, really, because to grow is to know. To grow is to know and to help somebody else. And I believe really half of the things that I've gone through, it's not just for myself. It's not for myself at all. I believe it's for, to really help other people, to really help somebody else, and to build somebody else. So the journey really never ends. It keeps going. And I just really encourage you. And if you're going through a situation where you're confused and you don't know where to go or what the purpose is, I encourage you, what I did in that work, just pause for a second and just really ask, just genuinely ask God, like, what is it am I supposed to do? Why am I here? Why did you put me here? Show me. And I can almost guarantee you that he will show you, and you will see what it is that you're supposed to do. Now, the question is, will you do it? And if you're at the point where you already know, and you're just really like, frustrated, it's not there, what's going on? I'm doing everything I can. I'll say what I kept saying. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. It's coming. And if it's not coming, it's probably there. And it's just timing. It's just timing. Our time and the right time may not be the same. You heard me? Our time and honey, I need a snap. If anybody snap, honey, I need a snap for somebody. Our time and the right time may not be the same time. So we just gonna wait for the right time. What do you do in between? Have faith and do whatever it is that you are supposed to be doing. So that is my portion, and end all be all. Stay fabulous, stay beautiful, and thank you for watching. And please tell somebody you love them, especially during these times. Tomorrow's not promised, so tell somebody you love them, baby. And I love you, Danielle.
I love love you more, Stichiz. That was awesome. They in the comments like, preach, sis. Yes, you better let us know. Thank you so much. Thank you for always being there to encourage and support and reach out and say, well, what do you need help with? What do you need help with? And always just lending and extending a hand. Like I texted you last week. Like you have become a sister to me. Like you are just. It's just organically happened, you know. So yeah. I'm grateful that our paths have crossed, and you know, you're on air right now, right?
Yeah, ma'am. I'm, you know, boss man about to.
She's on air right now, ladies, and she just in between.
I'm in the corner. You don't see me? I was in the corner. Master, go come for me.
And in between, she decided to show up for you and to pour into you. And she made it, you know, Stichiz made it happen with her schedule. You know, sometimes people could just be like, you know, I can't do it. I'm not available. But you extended, you pressed forward, and you said that you support and you love our vision and our mission. And you showed up to give us everything to activate our power. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sis, and I thank actually TJ as well for introducing us. She made it a point to do that. So
yes,
so all the on here, to my wine sister who might be on here, I love you. Be blessed, ladies, and please can I share one thing? Take care of yourself. We work so hard. Listen to me, sis. Come on in here. Come on here, sis. With my non-manufactured hands. What do you call it? Non-manicured hands, honey. I need to feel. Come in here, sis. Take care of yourself, sis. Take care of yourself. We run around for everybody else. We do everything else. You know what I learned? You can't be a blessing if you're not well. Mm-hmm. So take care of yourself. If you got to sleep and you got to tell the babies, I ain't even got kids and I'll be tired, okay? I got my little nephews and nieces now. But if you got little ones or maybe your partner, whatever, if you need to tell them, hold on, I need a break. Give them the church finger, just like, And if you haven't been to church, it's all fine. Still give them the finger and just be like, I need a second. And take a second. But you got to take care of yourself. Take it from me. Don't be like me. Be better. Come on. Be better. Yes. Be better. Love y'all.
Love you too. Wait, before you go, is purple your favorite color? Like, where does purple fall in with your whole style and your brand and your movement?
Mommy, pero it's royalty. Come on, mommy. It's royal. Ever since I was a kid, I love you purple. I didn't put no purple lipstick. I thought it's too much. I'll let you do it.
I got you. There we go. You all can follow Stichiz. She's on Instagram at Stichiz, just like her name. And she has a YouTube channel with her music on there. She has a website. So go ahead and support Stichiz all the way from Miami, Florida. Thank you for being here. As you can see, her heart is so big, and it's just it's coming through on the screen. So thank you. So everybody say thank you, Stichiz, in the chat.
Oh, thank you, ladies. No, it's okay. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Okay, love you.
All right.
Let me teach you how to do that. Quick Creole word. Merci en pile. Say that.
Merci en pile.
Come on, Haitian, bye, girl. You got it. Thank you very much. That's what you said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Merci en pile.
I love you. Bye, guys.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Okay, no problem.
Enjoy your day.
You too.
All right, ladies, if you enjoyed Stichiz, go ahead and say thank you, Stichiz. Let us know how you're feeling. Did that encourage you? Did that give you something that you needed? Was that inspiring? Let us know in the comments if you enjoyed the presentation from Stichiz about activate your power. And before we activate our power, we got to get rid of fear. That's exactly what she said. And a bunch of other quotables. So before we move on to our next speaker, who is ready to hit the stage, this is your homework and your takeaway from Stichiz. What is your why? What is your why? You may already know what that why is. Stichiz talked about this when she was presenting as well, meaning that, you know, we have to understand what our why is to keep us going, to keep us motivated during those seasons and those times where you're going to feel like you want to give up. This might be a season for you right now where it's so difficult, where you feel like, you know, this not working out for me. I don't see how this is going to make a way. It just seems impossible. What is your why? I want you to write down, document, share in your homework. What is your why? That is the question that we're asking, that we're answering for our homework and our takeaway from Stichiz. I hope that encouraged you. See, you see how God works? I always talk to him and I say, God, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to share? What is it? Who am I? What do you want me to give to your people today? And Ecclesiastes 3 came, a time for everything. And then we had Stichiz follow up with all of the words of encouragement that she had for us. And you see, it was just in alignment. It really was in alignment. So when you ask for that guidance and support, and your ear is open and ready to receive and listen, he's going to speak back to you for sure. Okay, so moving right along, we have Selena Hill, who is coming up. And I actually want to, I have some cool stories to share about both of these ladies, but we're going to keep and honor the time. I'm going to come back and tell you a little bit more about Stichiz and how we were able to connect during my tour in South Florida and Miami with my business partner, Tanya and King Marine Wines. But we also want to welcome Selena Hill. Everybody says, welcome, Selena. Welcome, Selena. Selena is also a dear friend to the network, and we actually were connected through Ashley Fox. Ashley Fox is a mutual friend of ours and a business colleague of ours, and Ashley is actually on our board of directors here at Women in Media for our National Advisory Board. That's how I was able to connect with Selena a couple of years ago. I would say about 2 years ago. And Selena came and was a part of our sixth annual Women in Media Conference, where we had Angela Yee speak, and Selena came and was a part of our millennial talks, our millennial panel discussion. And ever since, we've been able to keep in touch and follow Selena and really build a relationship with her. And she's very inspiring. She's doing dynamic work in New York City. She is a small, petite young lady, but she has such a big personality. She has such a big, powerful, she's just action-packed. She's just a full package, and what comes with her, she's diligent, she's humble, and she's for the culture, she's for the people, and she supports women. So we have valued the opportunity to build a relationship with Selena, and everything that she is doing to support. Whenever I reach out to her, she's always there to support the mission and the work of Women in Media. And so we are excited to bring Selena back to you to activate your power, to talk more about media. Selena is an award-winning writer, on-air personality, public speaker, event host, and content creator with a passion for empowering marginalized communities. She currently works as the digital editor for Black Enterprise, where she covers entrepreneurship, race, culture, and politics. She also conducts on-air interviews with the likes of Wendy Williams, Spike Lee, and Stacey Abrams. Selena has made guest appearances on NBC, WNYC, NPR, and Bold TV as a guest anchor. She has also co-hosted Amateur Night at the Apollo, infusing her passion for journalism and social justice. Selena created Let Your Voice Be Heard, a live radio show and widely distributed podcast. The award-winning talk show focuses on race, culture, politics, and social issues from an urban and millennial perspective. It broadcasts on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem, and is streamed on Facebook Live every Sunday at 11 a.m. A number of high-profile speakers have appeared on the show, including Senator Cory Booker, New York City's mayor, and Russell Simmons. So without further ado, we're going to welcome Selena to the stage. She's going to take it away. I'm really excited to have her. So thank you so much for coming to be with us, Selena. Everybody say, welcome, Selena. Welcome, Selena. Everybody say, welcome, Selena, all the way from New York.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm coming. Uh-oh.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm trying to figure this stuff. You know, this technology is like.
I know. It's all good. It has like a little pause in between, but we just gonna keep it rolling. You look beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. You're doing a great job. That last speaker, Stichiz, was phenomenal, and everyone else that you've been having for the past few days. And, you know, thank you so much for even, you know, inviting me to come on today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. You always have a home here with us at Women in Media. And I love the way that it worked out with you and Stichiz being available on the same day. Okay. And bringing that millennial perspective. But I also think it would be great for you two to connect, because I know you travel too whenever we're able to get back out the house. But I think you two would be dynamic connecting and working together.
For sure. It's so funny. I was literally supposed to be in Philly 2 weeks, like 2 weeks from today. We was like, we had so many plans, and I was definitely like, I was gonna hit you up like as soon as possible.
Yes.
You know, we're all stuck in quarantine, so you know, I'm here. But you know, definitely once we are allowed to go back outside, I would love to reconnect with you, love to connect with Stichiz, and you know, just more power to you, Danielle, because you're definitely keeping it moving regardless of the situation. You're continuing to empower other women. You're staying true to your mission, and you're just inspiring all of us.
Oh, thank you, Selena. Well, praise God. He continues to motivate me. And I think, I don't know if I shared this in a message that I sent you, but what I said, I heard God say to me, you have to stay faithful to the assignments that I've given you. And I said, okay, well, let's go. You know, and so even in quarantine, you know, where it was like, oh, it's an opportunity to slow down, but it was like, no, you still have something to do, and you have the ability to reach your people. So let's get it going.
Yes, and the word you gave this earlier today was so good too. I mean, times like this is unprecedented, but like you said, God is still in control. He knew this was going to happen, and this is a time for us to reset and reflect.
He absolutely did. And you know what? If everybody take the time to reflect on like 2018 and 2019, you might see some things that happened in your life that's like, oh, it makes sense now because it's 2020 and we're in quarantine. There was a number of, not even coincidences, but occurrences that happened in my life in 2018 and 2019 leading up to now, where I'm like, oh, okay, I see where we was going. I see why you didn't take me this way. I see why this door didn't happen. I see why I possibly could not walk down that way in this time, in this season, because quarantine has set everybody down. So I said, well, thank you, God, anyway, because you already know what you're doing. You already know what you're doing.
God's timing is impeccable. What God has for you is for you. And like you said, we wanted so many doors to open 2018, 2019, but I'm happy that things panned out the way they did, for sure. For me too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to let you take it away. I'm going to let you take the stage and share, but thank you again, and I'll be back.
Yes, okay. Thank you, girl. All right, let me pull up my notes. So hello, everyone, again. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the welcome comments that I was getting. Let me just get myself set up. Appreciate you guys. Danielle did a great job introducing me already. So as you guys know, I'm a multimedia award-winning journalist. And what I really want to do is empower you all with some insights and keys that I think will allow you to fully activate your full power and potential in the media industry. You know, some of you may want to start a podcast. Some of you may want to start a blog. Some of you may want to create a YouTube series. Well, I'll give you some more background about how I got started. So I actually, as soon as I went to college, like I always knew I wanted to be a writer, but once I got into college, that's when I had so many resources, like join the newspaper team. You know, so I started the radio show that I do today in college with one of the colleagues, like literally 10 years ago or over 10 years ago. And now we do it professionally. And, you know, when I started everything, I was just really being driven and motivated by my passion. And I was just trying everything out. Like, you know, I was a busybody like Danielle, who was, you know, flourishing in Spelman. You just want to do everything you can and take advantage of that time. I didn't realize at that time that I was really cultivating the passions within me and skill sets. And, you know, and it was really, it really helped me become who I was. Like, I remember, you know, when back on college, on campus, they'd be like, oh, Selena, you're going to be the next Oprah and all this other stuff. And, you know, I took it with, you know, a grain of salt. But literally, that's the trajectory that I was going in. And I think for, I say that because I think a lot of us find ourselves doing something and we don't really cherish that skill or that talent. Like a lot of us, bake, or you can cook your butt off. And, I mean, why not open up that restaurant? Why not, sell your baked goods? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have that God-given talent inside of you, whatever it may be. Some of us are really good with talking to people, with listening, and we do things so naturally, not understanding that we're literally walking towards our purpose. But until you can identify that and say, you know what, this is who God has called me to be, and I'm going to be that, then it almost like falls on deaf ears. Like, it's almost, you don't want to waste your talent. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. So that's just a little bit on how I got started. I worked, also another thing that I was doing, once I graduated, I started interning and working wherever I could. And I didn't realize at that time that the skill sets I was learning while working for major publications and, larger stations and etc., I didn't know I was cultivating my talents and using that to then apply to what I am doing today. Like, again, like I said, pay attention to what it is, who you have around you, and what it is that you're doing, because you never know, those skills will come really in handy in 5 years, in 10 years, or even in a month. I remember when I got fired from my dream job, after I had learned so much from working there, and they let me go, whatever. I came back, and everything I learned there, I was like, I'm gonna apply this to my own blog. And the blog I was doing at the time was a part of my radio show, which is now my podcast. And we launched a full-blown what I'm going to call it, a full-blown like little mini news outlet. Like, you couldn't tell us we weren't breaking news. You couldn't tell us we weren't getting the word out. Like, people were coming to us. This was around the time Obama was in session, and the government first shut down in 2013, and people were like, hold on, let me check Selena's radio show and let me understand like what they're talking about online, because I know they're going to break it down in a way that I can understand. That was the purpose of Let Your Voice Be Heard at that time. And yeah, so everything I learned there, I was just like, let's just do this. We had an editor-in-chief, we had writers on staff, and it just so happened that I remember the Holy Spirit had woke me up one morning at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and had me write a blog. And I had something just pressing on me for a long time. And then once I got up, I said, let me write this blog. It was a blog about Nicki Minaj's Anaconda, because, some of that stuff some of it didn't sit well with me. And I wrote not a harsh critical critique, but I said, like, what Nicki is doing for women at that time, I did not, from a fan's perspective, I did not fully appreciate. That blog went on to win my first award from the New York Association of Black Journalists. Again, fired from my dream job, use those skills to apply to my own, whatever I was doing, ended up winning my first award from there. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, do not take for granted what it is that you are good at. I do want to give you guys some more tangibles as well, because based on my experiences, what you need to really elevate in media, communications, and journalism is the following. And some of it may be fundamental, some of it may not, but I still cannot overemphasize the need to study the craft, right? I think a lot of us are like, oh, I want to launch a talk show, I want to launch a podcast. And it's like, how many podcasts have you really listened and studied before you launch yours? How much do you study and listen to expert interviewers before you launch your own show? And I say that because, like, a good girlfriend of mine asked me what I do in my free time. Like, I'm not a big, like, Netflix type of person or, watch movies and stuff. In my free time, I'm literally watching The View, The Real, The Breakfast Club, Wendy Williams. And I didn't realize at that time, but I was learning the way they interviewed. And even in my free time, and I'm always taking in that type of content. And it has inadvertently helped me become a better journalist, a better interviewer. So I said that to say that I've been studying. Like, I was listening to Wendy Williams back when she was on New York radio, you know, decades ago or whatever. And, you know, at that time, I didn't know who I was going to become, but I was still taking that in, and I naturally gravitated towards that. So I think that, you know, I hear a lot of people say like, oh, I'm just going to do this. Starting a podcast and being consistent is not easy. Starting your own media outlet is not easy. Starting, you know, interviewing, whatever it is you do on red carpet interviews, it is not easy. Do not let the glam fool you, because it takes hard work, even in your off time. And just because I think a lot of us, a lot of people who I've seen or particularly spoke to, some people just want to be seen. And I'm like, no, like, you don't, I'm not doing this for accolades. Like, the mission of my radio show / podcast was always to inform, educate, and empower my peers, because I understood and I saw that people weren't really understanding the power in politics and social justice. And I wanted to deliver that type of content in a way that was easily digestible to that audience. So, you know what I'm saying? So there was a mission, there was a purpose. I mean, you know, back in college, in my early days, I didn't even want to work on camera. I never aspired, like, it took a while for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna do video, I'm gonna do broadcast, or, you know, stuff like that. I did radio in college. I wrote for the newspaper. I was a behind the scenes type person. It wasn't until I think my third job or internship after college where they were like, oh, you know, we need to start doing some video interviews, because that's the direction of media. You know, would you be willing to take a stab? And, you know, I jumped at it. So again, I'm saying that don't just do something without a purpose, without a clear plan and a trajectory. And if you are going to do this, please study the craft, study the greats. Another thing I think that somebody can do who really wants to get into media, communications, journalism, is identify someone with your career trajectory that is very similar to your own goals and aspirations. You know, like, who's moving in this media, who's moving in this industry that you really admire and, you know, want to follow, and study them, see how they move. You know, I have my own, you know, some of the big people like Oprah, but then some of the smaller people that are directly, you know, in my network, or people who, you know, I've seen on Instagram and stuff like that. And, you know, just really understand, because I think that helps you, because especially in like media communications, there really isn't a clear pathway, especially not now. There's no hierarchy in, you know, elevation. Like, we're no longer like 20, 30 years ago when magazines were really thriving. You started off as a writer, you became an editor, you became an editor-in-chief. That whole philosophy is out the door. And I've worked for a number of magazines. So I'm, you know, I say that to say that it's about content creation now. And you want to make sure that you identify someone who has been in this craft, been in this industry for a strong time, who has the expertise, who has perfected what it is that you want to do. And then say, how can I get better than that? Another thing I think is very important, if you want to, you know, thrive in media communications, journalism, which is what my talk is about today, is understanding yourself. And I know we've all heard that before, but when it comes to building an audience, if you don't understand who you are, I don't think it's going to work. Once you know who you are and you can bring that level of authenticity into your work, people will naturally gravitate towards you. But if you are trying to be somebody else, and what I said before was identify who is moving like you want to move. Do not try to be them, just identify. Because you have to be yourself. And when you show up as yourself, people will naturally, from my experiences, be drawn to you, because real recognizes real. So that's one thing. Another tip I will say is understand your passion. And there's a difference between passion, purpose, and just skills. Passion is What don't I mind staying up to midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m., working on? What don't I mind setting my alarm clock at 5 to get up at 5 a.m. just so I can do this? What is it? Is it working out? Is it exercise? Is it eating healthy? Is it wellness? Is it lifestyle? Whatever it may be, understand what your passion is, because that passion is the fuel that will keep you going, right? The purpose, which what we just talked about a few minutes ago, is the purpose is more so, why am I doing this? The passion keeps you going. Now it's time for strengths and weaknesses. People, you have to understand what you're good at and what you're not. You can have all the passion in the world for a certain industry. We're talking about entertainment, so I'm gonna use that as an example. But if that is not where your strengths lie, if that is not your anointing, if that is not something that comes natural, I really think use this time to reassess. And I say that to say not to discourage people, but to just keep it real, because I see a lot of people doing this. I've talked to them. All of a sudden, I want to do interviews. I want to do a podcast. I want to do a talk show. And my question is why? And even if you have the why and you have the passion, is that where your skill set lies? If you've been behind the camera for 10, 15 years and you are a super producer or videographer or editor or, creative or art director, I personally would say maximize that skill. There's no need to just be visible just to be visible. Yes, the on-camera talents get the accolades, but it's a whole team behind it. And, if I put it like this, if you are someone who suffers from stage fright, why are you trying to get on the stage? And look, this may be a very unconventional talk, but let me be the one to keep it real, because a lot of people are like, oh, you should do this, do that. I'm all about maximizing strengths and understanding weaknesses and using your strengths, your God-given talents, to become who you want to be. The passion to keep you going, the purpose is your why, but understand your strengths and weaknesses. Another thing I want to touch on is, okay, let's say you got the passion, you got the purpose, and this is your strength. Another thing for media communication, you need to ask yourself is, what are your goals? Do you want to remain independent and secure brand sponsorships? Do you want to work at larger organizations like Essence, Complex, and Forbes? Or do you want to freelance and work with brands and media outlets? Today, like, glory be to God, we have all of these options. It is a very different world 10, 20 years ago. So I have, friends and associates in the industry who, unlike myself, freelance and secure their own brand partnerships and do, work outside of outlets or work with outlets rather than working within a certain organization. I'm not saying that is better than the other. Like me, I've been working at my organization for 4 years. One does not trump the other. What I'm saying is, what is your goal? I had, an intern who said her goal is to become an editor at a magazine. At least she, identify what it is that you want, because I feel like you can get lost in the wind if it's easily to get shifted if you don't know what it is that you want. So definitely figure it out first and foremost, and put that on, put it on your vision board, write it down. I have a good girlfriend of mine. She told me she made a vision board about 10 years ago. Her only regret is she didn't dream bigger. Why? Because everything on that vision board came true. And when she told me that, I said, wow. So again, know what you want and put it out there, but you have to know. Another thing that I would suggest is consistency. And I know we all struggle with productivity. Sometimes we wake up, we're going to conquer the world. Other times are like, look, I'm tired. Know yourself, take time for self-care. But consistency is so key. I've been doing my radio show / podcast, I said, for over 10 years. Matter of fact, we got our first award from the New York Press Club for a show that we did in 2016 literally 10 years after we started. When we first started this show, it was on campus, then we launched it professionally. We didn't have a lot of people listening. There were shows where just our parents might have been listening, or our friends, or, you know, but we kept at it every single Sunday. It just so you could, like, my team could testify. I just started saying, okay, let's take a break. Like, we don't got to do it Easter Sunday anymore. Let's take a break. Or we don't have to do it Mother's Day, like whatever. I was in there like, hey, we gonna do this 2 days after Thanksgiving. Like, why not? You know, consistency is key. And I would say this, rather than thinking in such a long-term perspective, if you do want to launch something, launch it as a piece of serial content that has episodes. So for your first podcast, why not release a podcast that has 5 episodes, season 1? See how it goes, reassess, and then come back. This way you're not putting all that pressure on yourself. Like, I'm going to release a podcast, you build an audience, and then 2-3 weeks later, you know, life happens and you stop doing it. So I would say, think of it smaller chunks and give yourself that time to reassess now. Another thing that I would say is, if you are just starting out, take advantage of local resources. Meaning, when it comes to monetizing, there should be a number of stores in your area, or you know, people that you're affiliated with that may want to advertise for you. I think the first ad we sold for back when it was called Let Your Voice Be Heard, the show is now called Be Heard Talk. The first ad was maybe $250, but then I went about selling web ads for $50, like local, and that $50 went a long way when it came to the production. So again, take advantage. You don't always have to start small, and develop those skill sets that you need to broker deals and you know, understanding advertising now. Another thing I would say is take advantage of the rising stars and the influencers in your immediate circle. You know, like, we all want to, you know, land an interview with Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama, obviously, but what about, you know, the person that's performing at the local venue who has some buzz in the area, you know, has a substantial following on social media? Why not get them? Why not get the people you have direct access to now and start building an organic audience like that? That is my suggestion. Another thing, you know, I touched briefly on monetizing. Today's world, if you already don't know, is all about data. Figure out a way where you can capture people's emails. Like, women in media, brilliant, because with that newsletter that they have and the different things that they're doing, they're always collecting emails, always collecting. So they have that internal audience. Because think of it like this. What if Instagram shut down tomorrow? What if YouTube got somehow interrupted and all those videos got deleted? What if you have your podcast on Anchor, Spotify, or SoundCloud, what if something happens? Anything can happen. Would you lose your audience? Is everything you're doing just only going onto Instagram or LinkedIn? I think about this almost on a daily basis. If Instagram shut down tomorrow, where would I be? What would I do? What would I have to show for it? Matter of fact, I had a friend of mine who was writing for Ebony magazine, ebony.com. Ebony has shut down the website. He lost his stories that he wrote. It happens. I'm telling you, it happens. So the best thing to do is build some type of database that is yours, whether that is through collecting emails or collecting phone numbers, so that you can constantly have a way to get your content out. And also, when it comes to, let's say if it is your goal to broker bigger deals with larger platforms like Tidal and Spotify, become a content creator, paid content creator on YouTube, one of the things you could do is, if you have that database, you have so much leverage. You know, you're not just coming as a talent, you're coming with data so that you can leverage that when you are brokering those good deals. Another thing is, as we already know, content is king. Everything is about content. You know, when I first started out in this industry, I was a journalist. Now I'm a content creator. That should say a lot. But make sure, in order to produce content that is going to resonate, you need to make sure your content has value and serves a purpose. Now, if you haven't figured it all out now, take the time to figure it out. You know, who you are, what's your, and the message that you want to communicate, and throw it out there. And if you need to do some testing, create multiple pages on Instagram and see what's pops, what is doing well and what's not doing well, and pay attention. My a good friend of mine in the industry, they launched a new series that focuses on feminism from a male perspective, and the series is doing great when it comes to like the online traffic and stuff. The podcast, from my observations, wasn't doing as great, right? So what does that communicate? And this is just an example. That communicates that, hey, that message that you're trying to convey is resonating with people in a written form. Why not give them more of that? Rather than, you know, if you're going to do a podcast, maybe shorten it up. Maybe have a podcast always be attached to some type of written content, because that's what the audience is doing. And another thing that I've learned, and just in my 10 plus years in producing the radio show and podcast, is you got to give the audience what they want. There's been a lot of times where we've had internal conversations amongst the team about which topic we're going to pick and what we want to talk about versus what our audience wants. And you have to a certain degree, obviously you're going to be authentic to yourself, but if you're a content creator, it's all about audience, and you need to give them what they want and what they find valuable. So I said, you know, I said a lot, and I'll just wrap up. Let me get this back. I'm sorry, guys. I'll just wrap by saying there is a lot of power in media right now, because like I've used it as a platform to let other voices be heard. And if you have a voice, if you have a skill set in this industry, you can absolutely make it all you want. I've seen friends in the industry literally flourish, quit their jobs from major organizations, and prosper nonetheless. But it's not easy. It takes dedication. It takes hard work. It takes a lot of grunt work. And you have to have the patience to continue to cultivate until you get to where you want to be. And a lot of the skills and the things I talked about today, you can be applied elsewhere. Like I know my talk was about media, entertainment, journalism, but that's transferable. Whatever I said is transferable. So figure out how you can apply that to your life and what you want at this time. And I'll just end on that because I don't want to go over, I think I went over my time already by a few minutes, but I'll just end by saying that. And thank you again, Danielle, for having me. I think you're on mute.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for joining us and accepting our invitation and pouring into the networks today and the women in media. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. So before you go, share where everybody can support your work and follow you online. Thank you so much. You can follow me at Miss Selena Hill. Miss is spelled M-S, Selena Hill, SELENA. HILL. Awesome. Well, everybody show some love for Selena in the chat. Tell her thank you. Oh, and my website, MissSelenaHill.com as well. Awesome. Okay. Well, stay safe. Have a beautiful weekend. Continue you too. Enjoy. Thank you. I was so before you go, yeah. I loved hearing what you were saying in the beginning when you shared your story, how you moved by the voice of God. You wrote that blog about Nicki Minaj's music, and you ended up getting honored for that piece. That's powerful. Oh yeah. I you know, it's so funny. I did a podcast last week,
And that's when I remembered it. I literally almost had forgot that even happened. But yeah, all glory be to God, because, you know, that's not the first time. You know, a lot of times God will tell us to move, tell us to act, you know, activate. And we have to be ready vessels. You have to be ready to move, because sometimes he just wants to bless you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's been other examples in my life too, where it's like, I need you to not go here, but to do this. I need you to leave this person alone and focus on this. I need you to reach out to this person. And it's like, you have to move when that voice, whatever it is moving and pressing, because you never know what's going to happen.
And that's activating our power, right? That's activating our power and really being connected to the creator, who is energy, who is spirit, who is all changing, who is always moving, and who is just everywhere. And so when you connect to that, that is your power, that is your source. So by you checking in there and activating that first, there is really no limit to what you can do in this thing in life. So yes, I loved it. You were amazing. You gave so much tangible information, things that we can do now, like tangible takeaways, steps we can take, things we can research, having industry knowledge, and then also the inspiration. It was perfect. It was perfect.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys got something out of it. I appreciate, thank you for sharing your platform with me. Thank you.
Always, always. Okay. All right, talk to you soon. Stay safe.
You too, girl. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed day 3 of Activate Your Power. I loved it. I loved hearing the stories of how Stichiz and Selena both navigated and really pressed their way and made a name for themselves, a brand for themselves, but really studied the craft, got into their fields, and really began to shake things up. But as you can see, there is commonalities between both of their stories, where they are not in this for the accolades. They're not in this for self-gain and greed, but they're here for the community. They're here to provide an outlet and a voice for marginalized communities, and really to support other people. And so that is another powerful thing that we have here, being media makers, being women who are in communications, who are in business, who are in arts, and who are in entertainment. We have the opportunity to activate our communities with the power that we have. We have power inside of us. And once you connect to that, once you know your why, you know your identity, your mindset is good, you are healthy, you can then pour out to other people in the community. So I hope that fed you. I hope that that was something that really moved your spirit. This was day 3 of Activate Your Power. And if you have not, please share the feed, share the feed, and connect with each other. We have homework for tonight, and we're going to announce our winner for day 2 homework. So if you still have day 2 homework, if you want to drop that, go ahead and drop that, because we haven't announced our winner yet. So we still have an opportunity to read your homework. From Stichiz, what is your why? Simply state it. What is your why? That is the question. That is the takeaway. And for Selena talked about there's a difference between passion, purpose, and skills. And she talked about the different ways that you can really navigate the industry. So let's see, what can we use as our homework from Selena's? Okay, let's talk about your future self. Okay, let's do that. This is my why, right? This is my why. And then 10 years, what is that 10-year goal? In 10 years, who are you going to be? What are you going to be working on? Where are you going to be? What is that futuristic goal for yourself? 10 years from now. 10 years from now, I'll be 41 years old. 10 years from now, how old will you be? What will you be doing? That vision that you have. And like she said, one of her good girlfriends had a vision board. Everything came true on her girlfriend's vision board. She said, I didn't dream big enough. I should have dreamed bigger. What are those big things? Ask God for big prayers. Ask God for big things that you can see. So what is your why, and where are you going to be 10 years from now doing that, activating your powers in media, communications, arts, entertainment, business? Let us know what that is. So I'm going to close soon, but I did want to share and continue to talk about Stichiz and how we connected before I let you go. So during my time doing business in South Florida and expanding the work of women in media and also Cameron Wines, we do have a Black woman-owned wine company. So if y'all want some wine, we could talk about that. I'll share that information too. I'm in South Florida. I'm running these companies. I'm expanding these businesses. And God took me to Florida, South Florida. It was not on my radar. Miami was not on my radar. Miami for me was a place that we went to where we just did spring break in college, AUC students, Spelman College students, and we just had fun. Like, it was just Miami spring break. That was it. I never thought about that market as an opportunity to do business in. So when it came, it literally came out of nowhere. Like, what? Florida? Okay, I'm rocking with it. Let's go. Y'all already know that I'm just about that business. Wherever we got to go, we going to do it. We going to rock it. I just move and operate on faith, and I just keep going. I don't stop there. And I knew that I had to connect with iHeartMiami because Women in Media has a partnership in relationships at iHeart Philly. So I said, we got to go to iHeartMiami. Ended up getting into iHeartMiami with a colleague, David Kennedy, who's running for state attorney in Broward County, Florida. And he connected us to TJ, who is one of the top leading sales in iHeart Miami. But not only is she in sales in Miami, she does national sales for iHeart. Young Black woman doing her thing, and she just welcomed us with open arms. She learned about women in media. She learned about Cameron Wines, and she said, whatever we need to do to support you all in this mission and vision to expand women in media, to expand Cameron Wines, you have a partnership and a friend in us. She then introduced me to Stichiz, and it was like, boom. It's just, everything just like, it's just lit up. It just got so big. It just went, and it just moved. And we were able to connect because, you know, people were willing to share. People were open to collaborating. People were open to what we had. And the energy, I'm pretty sure the energy and the light that we walked in the room with and what we were giving off was well received. And to be able to connect with Stichiz, I kept hearing her name as I'm doing research in the market, as I'm doing my due diligence to expand women in media, as I'm figuring out the things that I need to do to operate effectively in this market, to figure out what is the need, what can we do, how can we serve the South Florida market as women in media. And Stichiz's name came up. Stichiz, you got to connect with Stichiz. I'm like, okay, right, okay, got it, made note. And when she introduced me to Stichiz, it was just so organic. It was like, wow, like, this really happened. Like, we came to iHeart, she gave me a tour. She's like, oh, let me introduce you to Stichiz. She's in the studio. And I went to iHeart just to have a tour, just to see TJ, and just to, you know, just to shoot the breeze and just make the connection and to continue to build relationships. And Stichiz ended up being on air. And we walked in there and we had a great conversation, and it was all love. We followed up immediately, and immediately Stichiz began to introduce me, show me opportunities, invite me to different things. And we began to network and really move around that market. And so I'm grateful that she had such a genuine spirit and an open heart to do that. And so I hope that you are taking a lot away from this, because the women that are coming to you, who are speaking on this platform, is very intentional. Whenever I do something, I'm praying about, okay, God, what do you want me to say? What are we going to talk about? And who are the women that should be here with us? Who should we invite to participate? It's all intentional. Everything that we do is on intention, and it's with you in mind. So I think about the way that we need to align things, and I think about the vision, and I think about the goals that we want to achieve, and they just come together. Selena and Stichiz on one ticket, y'all. Man, this was a day from God. He really set this up to fill you with everything that you needed. So I'm grateful to be building that relationship. Women in Media is in South Florida now. We do have operation and business there, and we are continuing to move forward. And the same way we connected with Selena a couple years ago, you know, we look forward to continuing to build both of those relationships in New York City and also in Miami, Florida. That is what we have for you today. Take that, eat on that, pray on it, share the information, share the feed, and bring more people with you to the summit tomorrow, day 4. We got 2 more speakers for you tomorrow. We have 2 more women coming from Florida. 2 more women coming from Florida tomorrow as well. We have Isna, and we also have Tasha, who will be on the summit with us tomorrow from Florida. Y'all know we Women in Media Global, so we bringing women together from all over the world, different nations, different nationalities, different ages, different walks of life, different visions, different personalities. We are bringing it all to you for you. I am your host, Danielle Jeter. It is a privilege and an honor to be here to serve you. And I look forward to connecting with you in the Activate Your Power community page. And we will see you tomorrow for day 4. Okay? Peace and love. Have a beautiful weekend. And we will connect soon.